Hey guys, we made round 2 of the Austin Chronicles.
Best of Austin 2018.
Please go out, austinchronicle.com/ was it 2000 best of?
They have a link on the top of their page. So, but yeah,
just Bing it, guys. Just Bing it. It'll find it.
Please don't. No. It's austinchronicle.com/ vote best of Austin, I think. Something like that. It's just easier. Just go to our website and we have a link. Go to Austin Chronicles website. There's a link there.
We are under...
at the top of the page.
Politics and Media.
Yeah, that's right.
Politics and Media Podcast General is what we're under.
Yeah. So scroll past favorite, what was it? Favorite drag queen? Yeah. That's it.
It's after that one.
Yeah.
So you can vote for Tony on there if you need to, but it's like keep going down after that. 3 beers in.
Hey, I'm just diversifying my winning options.
He's getting the name out there.
Yeah.
That's what's going on. Okay.
No, but please go out there, vote. We'd appreciate it.
Yeah.
Love you guys.
As a friend.
Yeah. There is a podcast no one asked for. A podcast you never knew you didn't want. 3 beers in. This is the podcast.
I anticipate a deeply religious experience.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to 3 Beers In, the #1 podcast about Austin craft beer in Slovakia.
We think.
Thanks for joining us, and a special thanks to all of our great patrons. If you haven't checked out our Patreon page yet, you can find it at patreon.com/3beersinpodcast. Check out all of our rewards. You can give as little as $1 a month to help us keep doing what we're doing. It really helps out, and we'll give you a thank you on the show. Or for a little more, you can remain anonymous. Today, we're on location at Whitestone Brewery in historically beautiful Cedar Park.
Historically beautiful.
Beautifully historic.
Not currently beautiful.
Oh,
just
yeah.
historically.
Historically, it is.
Now, do you mean Brueggerhoff?
It was beautiful when it was Brueggerhoff. Now
Yeah.
Cedar Park is not. Yeah.
We'll get into it.
This is Ross, and next to me is...
This is Tony.
Joel's there.
Cutter's here.
I'm Clint.
And we have a special guest today, is the ketogenic owner of Whitestone.
Yes.
Ryan. Is it Anglin or...
You got it. Nailed it first
Ryan
time. That's
Anglin.
awesome.
And also sitting in with us today is Kevin, sales extraordinaire, also social media extraordinaire at the moment for Whitestone.
Exactly.
So our first beer is the Brueggerhoff Pilsner.
And there we go. Brueggerhoff.
Brueggerhoff.
Explain the
Brueggerhoff.
name.
Yeah, so Brueggerhoff was the second name of Cedar Park, the town that we're in. So from Brushy Creek to Brueggerhoff, which was a namesake, and then to Cedar Creek, I believe in 1972.
Cedar Park? Cedar Park is the city we're currently in. Yeah.
Currently, yes, that's probably a good explanation. Yeah. Naming beers is hard. You come up
The
empty
first
a lot.
3 or 4 are pretty good, and then after that, it's all like...
Yes.
Like, yeah, you run out of your best
Like,
material.
what-
at
we
that
just came
point,
up with a
right?
beer. What
Yeah.
do we call it?
So, Czech style Pilsner, we're like, let's do something that sounds a little German,
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well,
Brueggerhoff.
Brueggerhoff.
We're big fans of the Czech Pils style, so we did this beer and we took a little risk on it because we well, not risk, but we did a little differently because we used 100% Blacklands malt,
Oh,
so
cool.
local here to Leander. Yeah.
Yeah, so what other beers that you're doing that you're using just Blacklands?
So we've done a few, but right now, what we have that we use 100% their malt is our 1431 Amber, and actually that is all Texas grown malted barley.
Okay.
So 100% of the malt bill was grown right here in Texas, which is pretty unique. Can't say that for the pills, but it's all it's local. So.
Which, by default, makes it vastly superior to all other beers.
Yes.
I might include.
Yeah.
Not just other ambers, but
All other beers. It's
Yeah.
all Texas sourced.
Yeah.
It's probably the best beer on earth.
Now, if we could just get some Texas hops in here.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, I
I think
hear
those are going to come hydroponically first.
Right.
Yeah. They don't like to grow here.
So if we created like some sort of like geodome that we like imitated some other climate, we could probably grow
Like a
some hops here.
biodome?
Yes.
Yeah.
Biodough.
Like the Pauly Shore movie.
No, not like that at all. We're not going to put people in
Damn.
it. Just
Well,
hops.
Well, people have to work it.
Yeah, exactly.
Figure out a way to
you
automate
gotta-
that shit.
Well, Pauly Shore's probably available. So
He could probably work
Wait,
it.
I thought he was doing the Richard Simmons biopic.
I have no idea,
I
man.
don't know. No, that doesn't exist.
Why do y'all have to crash me down on
that
every
was
idea?
good.
Well, because
Ross,
you
keep
do
that.
it to everybody else. I don't know.
Well, that's true.
Okay.
That's an interesting
But that's your
idea,
job.
though, because, like, yeah, Texas, you feel like you could grow anything here, but some things just don't take.
It's so diverse,
Oh.
you know.
No, challenge accepted. I mean, just think what that Texas soil could do for the hops, though, you know?
Yeah.
The superior Texas soil.
Superior.
Yeah.
So Czech style pills.
Yeah, so do you use saws in it or
We do. Yep.
Okay. Is that the only hop that you use?
It is. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So we stay pretty traditional with everything else except the malt bill.
All right. Yeah, because I'm not getting a lot of the hop, which I mean I prefer that, but
It's on
It's
the
got the,
finish.
it's got the
Generally.
on the finish. You got that spicy kind of Czech
but
style
generally
on it,
a lot
for sure.
a lot of Czech style pilsners try to punch that saws too much. That's the
Yeah.
deal.
And I mean, IBU wise, it's at 40, so it is, it's up there with
Yeah.
a Czech
Oh, yeah,
style
yeah.
stylistically. My personal opinion is I think the malt does give it more of a little bit of a sweeter presence
and more rounded flavor. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think from that standpoint, it's not going to be that transition to a hot presence on the finish.
Cool. I enjoy it myself.
Oh yeah. It's like,
What is everybody else thinking?
this is rivaling some of the best pills I've ever had. Yeah.
Rivaling North
Have I
Coast?
told you how
North
much I like you?
Coast. I know. I fantastic.
Fuck you, Cutter. Nobody cares what you think. You like every beer.
That's true.
It doesn't count.
Well, no, it's an interesting point you made, like comparing it to North Coast, because that's what we pretty much put as like a high water mark.
Yeah.
Like, but I was going to ask, do you guys have this on? I know we have it on draft here, but is it canned also? Can you get it other than at the brewery?
This specific beer, no, we didn't. So this, we're pretty much set up for as primarily an ale brewery. Yeah, and this is the second year. I mean, we're 2.5 years old, but this is the second year we've introduced a Pilsner. So we pretty much have the capacity right now with how we're set up to do one lager. And that'll change. I mean, we have a lot of things in the works to hopefully change that to where we can have a year-round lager, but the way that we came into cans and all of that, it's just how our schedule came out.
Yeah.
And with that said, though, this is offered on draft at bars and
Correct.
restaurants.
Yeah.
We just do not can it at this time.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And the other aspect to that was the choice to do all Blacklands malt. It was sort of a one-off. It was kind of an experiment to just see what that would do.
Is this the first one you tried with all Blacklands?
1431 was first. We've done a lot of pilot brews just with Blacklands.
Yeah.
So, to us, we've done quite a few of these, but it's such a clear, crisp beer to use.
Oh, yeah.
A malt that you're unfamiliar with is sort of a risk, but we really want to see what you
Right.
can get, So it was the first. The amber, you can hide a lot of things because there's so many other flavor characteristics that go into
Right.
that.
Is there anything that you've tried that really just has not worked with the Blackland?
No, I wouldn't say that didn't work. I'm a big fan. Brandon does great work over there.
Yeah.
What we've tested with so far, I think our first ever beer that we did with it was our smoked strong ale. So we used a little bit of his. He actually oak smoked malt, like straight up over a campfire.
Oh, wow.
It was awesome. Yeah, and that was a big beer. I think if I remember, we've done over 200 recipes now, but
Wow.
So it's hard to keep these on the top of my
2.5
head now.
years.
Yeah.
But I remember, So
Listen to that, listeners. 200 recipes, not one really didn't work out. That's the superiority of Texas coming through right
yes, they're all good. Yes. But that was anytime you do a smoked beer, it's a little bit of a risk because personally I don't even like smoke. So it came out and it turned out pretty good. And we even did it off season. We did it in like the hot months.
Ooh.
So it was just a pilot batch, so you can do that. But
It's one of those you go out and you have it with a campfire. It's like,
pretty much, yeah. And you got some of that campfire to it. But that was probably the riskiest one I'm going. But again, you can hide it with some of that smoke. So I wouldn't say we've done anything that I wasn't a fan of. I think, like I said, Brandon does really interesting work over there more than anything. So we're always like gung ho to let's give it a shot.
Yeah. Live Oak does a bunch of different kind of smoked kind of beers and stuff like
That's
that.
their thing.
And like you can pick up different flavorings in theirs. Like,
dog
so was y'all's more just campfire smoke when you drank it, or did you have you and your hot dog water, by the way?
Me?
You guys, I don't know who drinks hot dog water and knows that that's a flavor.
That's the first time I've heard that.
Hashtag work for the flavor.
Hashtag work for the flavor. But no, there's you could pick up at least for me, I was picking up like, oh, this one has more of a smoked briskety kind of flavor. Like you get these like notes of things that remind you. Did yours have anything like that, or was it like like Shiner Smokehouse? You drink that, and it's
like a bonfire.
You feel like you're drinking a bonfire.
So it wasn't that. So that's what was always off-putting to me. I'm not a big peated malt fan. I mean, peated malt to me just comes off really, really sharp and harsh. But, you know, when you're talking about like a Roush malt or like that more subtle flavor that you can actually appreciate the beer and just get it maybe a little bit on the back end, I can drink that. Maybe just one of them, but I can drink that. So that was more what we were aiming for, and I think what we got. And plus, we put it in a strong ale. So it was, you know, big 10% beer, so you can have a little booziness with that too.
And the sort of person who's going to pick a 10% beer, you know, they're adventurous. They're going to try something.
Yeah,
it's not like the person who walked up to the counter and it's like, "Hey, what do you recommend?" Yeah. Like I think that was one of the things
10%.
That Mike said with Live Oak.
He always tries to push him towards
the smoke. He always pushes the smoke.
What do you recommend? I recommend this one. It's something you haven't tried. I guarantee it.
Yeah,
we've never been afraid of pretty much, I mean, that was us, right? We did a pilot batch of that beer in the dead of summer, 100 degrees, and we're pushing a 10% beer on you going, enjoy this.
Enjoy a nice, refreshing 10% smoke beer.
And like it. Yes.
It's when you just turn the tap room down to like 40 degrees.
Yeah, there you go. You need a little warmer there. Winter warmer.
Yeah, exactly.
During the summer.
Christmas in July.
Yeah. So you're only canning 3. Is that a regulation with TABC where because you're a brew pub, you can only release 3?
No.
Because I've noticed a lot of brew pubs, they'll only do like 3 beers that they'll can and they'll release those.
Yeah, I've never thought about it. So that specifically is not a limitation to TBC.
Okay.
So the limitation that we deal with is because we're licensed as a brew pub and we self-distribute. We can only self-distribute 1,000 barrels.
Oh,
so it's more a capacity overall limitation.
Oh, okay.
So we are choosing to do the rollout slow and steady and with our cores. So
so if you made another one, then you'd have, scale back on one of the other ones.
You couldn't distribute quite as much.
Or
as is, these guys are going to, Kevin and the sales team are going to have December off, apparently. So
there you go.
You have done as much as you can.
No, they do a really good job. And
he is social mediating the shit out of that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're good ambassadors. I mean, that's the advantage of self-distribution, right? Is you can represent your product from point A to point B. But yeah, that's the archaic law right now that we have to go against. So indirectly, it affects us with the legislation in 2019 as to what happens with these to-go sales for manufacturing tier breweries, because the only reason we're a brew pub is to sell to go. If we could sell to go as a manufacturing tier, we'd up our license and do that.
There you go.
Nice.
Okay.
Well, I'm disappointed to find out it wasn't because we only can do 3 beers in on this podcast. I thought that was why.
Actually, yes. I only changed my answer. That was it. Yes.
Because I think for me personally, the first time I heard of your brewery was with Converter Kolsch and was just blown away.
And he was converted.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Well, one taste bud.
Yeah, just one taste bud. One taste bud on the time.
We did have, I know you heard the podcast, but it's like, well, how many, we don't know science or anything.
But
we're
like, oh shit, I got to change all this stuff.
How many taste buds do we have? Probably like 12. So that's a pretty good percentage.
We're just one taste bud at a time. That's all we want. That's our goal.
So you drink about 12 of them and you're set.
If it's a growth. It's over time you get all the taste buds. So
we're not nerds or science people or anything. So it sounds good to us.
Yeah.
Wait, we're not? Oh, okay.
4 out of 5 of us are wearing glasses.
The last episode of Legion I don't know.
I'm not caught up.
That's like my boss's one critique he always throws at me.
Legion?
Like, y'all are all a bunch of nerds. Like, you need someone who's not nerdy on the show.
I don't. Well, okay. I don't want to really get into it right now, but I'm going to. So I think that's the demographic we're going after.
The beer nerds, right?
Yeah, exactly.
They're nerdy.
For the record, I have glasses in my briefcase.
There you go.
Don't brag about it.
Over time, it's like as you age.
So you're saying Joel is pretty much... Oh, and Kevin over there.
Yeah. Kevin's got glasses. He refuses to wear them.
Oh, okay. Well, then
Just to wear them, I just have them stashed everywhere.
So at the
You just
table,
have to have a
then,
pair
Joel.
everywhere.
Exactly.
Joel, you're the odd man out.
I'm the only one who doesn't go to trivia, so yeah, I guess I'm not a nerd who drinks.
Well, you're just some other kind of nerd. I'm not sure what kind.
Well, that is a really interesting point, that the people that we talk to who are really into beer, they love to nerd out about beer and the history of beer and the chemistry, the makeup of it. And it's like, by definition, they are nerds because they're nerding out on it.
I thought they like to be accessible, though. So why
no,
would
we are accessible.
We try to be accessible and drink what we like, drink what tastes good, but not everybody's about that life.
It is fun. I mean,
MGD.
I've always looked at it as, Texas is the one place you can go to church and then go get something to eat and drink a beer right after, and it's totally acceptable. Whereas every other state, you get judged for it, right? So I love it, and I get to geek out on historical styles. To me are super neat.
If we could just go to HEB and get some beer before football starts on a Sunday,
I agree.
I would.
One step at a time,
Ross.
One step at a time.
Right now, we have the plan.
Come on. I'm looking in the fridge before the game starts. That's when I'm planning.
It is crazy how you always end up on Sunday and you're like, shit, I had so much alcohol in my refrigerator and it's all gone now.
What happened on Saturday night?
I need it right. This is when I need it.
Strategically.
Speaking of so much alcohol in the fridge, do not bring any more beer to my house right now.
Yeah, we
just bottled a 5-gallon batch of just a homebrew kit. The first one we did. I have
48 bottles?
48 bottles of beer in the fridge.
Well, you got 24 12 ounces and then 16,
12,
22?
12, 16. So
of an amber.
Do not bring any more beer to my fridge.
So what'd you do? What was the style?
It was just an amber. Yeah,
okay.
A Block Party Amber by Northern Brewer. Northern Brewer. Yeah.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, and I did a bourbon vanilla porter, which turned out pretty well. I had some problems, but because my original yeast was, I guess it was too old, and I didn't do a starter.
The yeast you purchased was too old?
Maybe.
Well, it was in the kit, so who knows how old it was.
Could have been sitting around a warehouse.
Yeah.
So I start off. I
bought some white label yeast.
The directions that are provided to me.
Labs.
Ross starts off with his first batch, and he's like,
I want to put some biscuit malt and lactose in there. Come on,
biscuit malt.
Go for it. I love it.
He's just immediately he gets.
And then I was going to do some chocolate
and
and hazelnut, but I forgot. So I was like,
I'm like,
shit.
let me follow the pragmatic and just figure out what this does. And then
I know what beer tastes like.
What'd you add? You had vanilla aged in bourbon or bourbon whatever.
Well, yeah, but that was part of the recipe. But I put a little bit more vanilla. Some Madagascar vanilla aged in
so you
some Widow Jane bourbon.
So the bourbon aspect was the vanilla aged in bourbon? Is that That's interesting.
And then I poured all that in the secondary.
He added biscuit malt. He added
not enough biscuit malt though. Next time I'll put a little bit more.
Anyway,
I like it.
And into a porter.
I should have put Munich malt.
You're giving him ideas, Ross. You're giving him ideas.
He's like, now what did you do next?
This podcast is over.
Patent pending.
Wait, Brian, put that notepad away.
Keep telling more about all these elements you added to it.
I don't know if somebody
right when it hits 100 degrees, I'm releasing that beer.
Very biscuity.
This sounds great on a summer day.
It's super chocolatey.
So Ross, does your yeast need some help from Dr. T?
No. I'm gonna do a starter next time. And I'm gonna use some Nordic yeast, which it's supposed to be really attenuative, so I don't think I'll have any problems.
Now, is that something you get from the Austin Brewery Supply, or do you order it online?
Austin Homebrew Supply.
Homebrew Supply,
yeah.
Oh, I thought we were talking about Dr. T still. So
no,
we're gonna do a peach wit with Nordic yeast.
With Nordic yeast and New Zealand hops. I'm going to call it...
I'm a fan of New Zealand hops.
Taika Waititi, who is... it's a reference to Taika Waititi, who is a director. He did the...
Thor Ragnarok.
The latest... Yeah, Thor Ragnarok. He was also in it. He was the rock monster.
Oh, Thor, want to use a big wooden fork? Yeah, not really useful unless you're fighting off 3 vampires that were huddled together.
Yeah, he voiced the rock.
Oh, he was the best part of that movie.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Okay.
And he's done a lot of Flight of the Conchords and What We
there
Do
we
in the
are.
Shadows. And
fucking nerd.
And it just went to that level, yeah.
I wanted to work in some New Zealand fruit, but I didn't want a kiwi beer, so fuck that.
We won't hold him against for Flight of the Conchords.
Wow. Okay, let's move on.
I was just about to say, he did this movie called What We Do in the Shadows, where it's like a documentary about vampires, but they're not really good at being vampires, and it is hilarious.
They're New Zealand
You would think it's
man,
fucking British humor all over the place.
Oh, yeah.
New Zealand.
Hilarious.
I mean, it's like low grade Monty Python.
Well,
Yeah.
Well, hey,
It's good stuff.
I thought it was a horror movie.
I don't
from
like
the-
vampire movies and stuff.
No,
but
it's not a
I don't
horror
think
movie
it
at
was.
all.
for
It's,
No,
the
no, it's
people
not
that
horror.
like.
it's like hand cam, them being stupid. It's kind of like our podcast, really. Like,
Yeah.
just us being stupid, basically.
Oh, horror is short for horrible. When I said that, sorry.
All right. Now, let's
Edit that out, Ross.
Again, let's move on.
Oh, that's why I say it because I know I'll get edited out.
So this,
We're gonna have to keep it now.
yeah. If you say edit it out, Ross keeps it. Didn't
Oh,
you know
please,
those are
let's
the rules?
not just.
Anyway,
So I have to edit out every time you say edit it out.
But wait, what about this edit out?
Oh, God.
Oh, God, did it again. So getting back to the beer, though.
back to it. It's good.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying every
I'm a
sip.
fan of Pilsners. I prefer the German style to the Czech myself, but like I said, this isn't too. It doesn't get too spicy with the sauce.
Yeah.
So I enjoy that. Yeah.
It does. I mean, it does have that element to it.
Oh,
but
no,
it's
yeah.
not overpowering.
No.
So that's
Yeah.
solid.
So I think a lot, like even the Pilsner Urquell that we had last week, which is the first Czech Pilsner, pretty much. So, or it was.
Oh yeah, that's right. With the yeast guys, yeah.
Yeah. And so of course they want to showcase their hop.
Sure.
Yeah. So they're gonna do that.
Sure.
But I would have liked it if they took it back a little bit more. And I think this does that. I think I don't want to. Okay, yeah, I prefer this to the Pilsner Urquell. Yeah.
Nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Win.
Did I do that?
I agree.
Oh, I
But-
get the joke. Yeah, that's a
Where
good
were
one.
you last week? I was doing that joke all night.
I was not here.
Were you really
But-
doing that joke?
yeah.
Because I never actually paid attention.
Yeah. Well, it's
That's
not-
why you invited me, so I could get your jokes.
That's why I always invite you.
Oh, okay. okay.
I was just gonna say, but it's no contest to the Stefan Urquell.
I am really happy that we are starting on a light beer like this
Oh, yeah.
because typically I feel like we start on the heavier beers and work our way backwards.
When did we ever do
We
that?
try not to.
Anytime
I feel like
Clint
we've done that.
That is what Clint wants to always do. But
Start
Card
heavy-
talks him out of it. and
Start
we
heavy and
with
go light?
Yeah.
Is that what I always want to do?
Let's do the IPAs first.
yeah, get
Get
them
'em
out of the way.
Yeah, but I feel like that's counterintuitive.
yeah, but you get them out of the way.
The porters and stouts. That's what Kevin really wants, though.
Do you want to do the IPA next?
Lovely day. It's a lovely day for an IPA.
No, you have the other IPA, right? The Brangelina.
Yes.
The Azakuanot.
Yeah. Azakuanot.
Wait, did you say Bradgelina or Brangelina?
Brangelina.
Oh, well.
Like I said,
well, that
naming
was-
conventions are hard, right?
Yeah.
So we just go with the Brangelina
Oh,
route.
okay. Yeah.
There you go.
Azakuanot. Yeah.
Like that's one of those, shh, boy, you want to be sued?
Shinny.
I hear Aquanaut is all I hear. But
Aquanaut?
Aquanet.
Azakuanot? Is that what I hear?
Azakuanot. So it's a mix
Yeah,
of Azaka and Equinot hops.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah. So Azaka that's a Mexican hop, isn't it? Or
No.
just putting that
just
Wait,
spitballing.
Trump,
in my head.
Trump hasn't banned those yet?
There's a
You
tariff.
didn't build that wall yet around those.
Throw the hops over the wall.
it was too easy to make that joke.
Although
got-
their children are separated. Is that too soon for that?
Well, you don't.
No, it's
you
good.
don't want him.
By the time this is aired, this will all been solved. It'll have been blown over.
Well, he signed the executive order already.
Yeah,
what
no,
more
it's
do you
gone.
want?
Yeah.
Fertilized hops are not good hops.
Oh, whoa. Let's not get political,
it's
guys.
just-
This is
It's
going
just
in a direction I
science.
did not see at first. So I'm actually forgetting what the how Azakwa was bred, but it's one of my favorite hops.
Yeah.
Super citrusy.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so it's got a. I mean, we've been going kind of the route of just exploring these fruit-based hops.
Yeah.
Seems like more and more people are calling for them. I resisted for a long time, but now I'm kind of giving in. I was saying earlier how I
it
appreciate
seems
them.
kind of like a turning point. It's like a gateway drug, and so it's like
Yeah.
once you start with the fruit hops, it's like, ooh,
The best example for me, kind of the turning point for me was, and the reason we did the recipe for Lovely Day IPA or year-round IPA was...
oh yeah, the Mandarino was
Mandarino was
Yeah.
interesting. So we originally, when we did all the pilots and kind of the beers we wanted to take to market, when we did all the recipes, that one had Amarillo. Huge fan of Amarillo. And
by morning.
the next substitute for that, yeah, I'm a fan of that too. It's really hard to source in Texas for whatever reason.
yeah.
So Mandarino was kind of a newer hop at the time.
Right.
And tried that out, and it had that tangerine kind of little lemon. And that was the
Right,
first time I actually
citrus,
tasted it, and I go, wow, these people actually know what they're talking about now.
Yeah.
Before I would hear, like I was telling you earlier, earthy, piney. I'm like, I
you
don't
read
want
a
any hop.
description. It's like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Columbia just scored, by the way.
No.
Oh,
No. Wait. Oh, wow.
Since I had a draw, now
that was the guy who was
And a
practicing
header.
headers.
Oh, man, that's...
I think the cheeseburger just got bigger too.
That is an amazing goal.
They had a guy from Columbia who was like practicing the header all practice. That wasn't the same guy. No?
Yeah.
Like Cutter, practicing head all the
Oh, his mom.
Have you seen some of his pours?
That's so terrible.
Man, you were teed up for that. I saw your eyes light up coming.
Look at a softball.
Yeah.
I mean, when you get
Someone's going to knock it out of the park.
He's still a man. He's not going to back down from a joke like that.
Revolver also uses that hop in their Full Tang IPA, which is a tangerine flavored IPA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the tangerine definitely comes out to me. Sometimes, for my head, I need different flavor descriptors than are on the back of the box.
Yeah, no. It's like reading a beer description. It's like, yeah, this is worded really well, and it makes me want to drink the beer.
Yeah.
But then, what does it actually taste like?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, same thing for off flavors for me. We try to do as much sensory analysis in here as we can. So when you talk about acetaldehyde, I don't get green apple. I get I get kind of fresh cut grass type of thing.
I mean, and
those are very different tastes.
Very different. Yeah. and even those things is like when they
would green apple be bad in like a lawnmower beer? I don't know.
Yeah. And a lot of those things, I sit there and I go, I've never, maybe when I was a kid, but I don't remember it, chewed on grass, so it's not like the first thing that pops in my head.
You never lived as a kid then.
What?
I did. Growing up in Kansas,
I only
that's
remember
all I
stuff
did.
that happened last week.
There was nothing else to do.
Growing up in Kansas.
Nothing else to eat.
Kansas. He chewed on
There's
grass.
just so
Yeah.
much grass to eat.
All the smarter kids were eating the grass. I was eating the dirt.
Yeah,
man.
there you go.
That's why I don't like the descriptor of earthy, right? I'm like, I had my fair share of dirt, so I'm good.
I was mowing my lawn yesterday, and I was dumping my lawn clippings, and
You just
hit
took
the
a
wrong
handful.
angle, and it popped right up in my face, and I got like all grass in my mouth. So,
Oh, what do we got here?
Little pores. All right, Kevin.
That's just because it's on the other side, and I couldn't carry 5 glasses. Sorry.
This is our Brangelina.
No one volunteered to help.
What, you weren't prepared?
but that raises another topic where early on in our beer kind of like evaluation, some of us in the podcast were kind of reading off the back of labels and
How dare you, sir? How dare
I didn't
you.
say
You don't have
Cutter.
to call
That was just
yourself
kinda-
out.
I mean, I wasn't going to say Cutter.
He said
but
some of us.
Some of us.
And by that, he meant one of
Cutter.
us named Cutter.
was like reading off the back of the label and he's like, oh, I totally taste this coriander in the beer. It's like,
How do you not?
dude,
I still
we
don't
don't know
understand
what
how you don't
coriander
taste
tastes like.
coriander
It's
in
so
a wit beer.
bucolic.
Yeah.
All this bucolic all over
Yeah,
my face.
and it was like, what the hell does coriander taste like on its own? Like, we're not the sort of dudes who can pick out coriander.
Except for Cutter, apparently.
Oh, yeah.
If we believe what he says.
For the record, I've been cooking since like my mother, who's here.
No.
right
Since
now,
his
so-
cooking camp
No,
was 7 years
don't
old.
try
She-
to get help
Yeah,
from your
I
mother.
I can pick out
do
coriander
not
pretty well.
do not bring Mustang Sally into this.
So I can pick out coriander probably more than any other spice, just because it's.
But the point is, you're reading
Prevalent.
these descriptions and you're like,
Yeah.
okay,
And then
you're
it
just
gets
trying
in
to
your
be
head, and
fancy,
it's
like.
yeah.
Yeah.
But like reading this description, then you kind of want to taste that flavor, and it's like, it's a placebo effect, maybe a little bit, maybe.
I think
not.
there's always an aspect of that. Different people get different things, whether it's off flavors or the flavor profile of the beer that you're going for. But
Power of suggestion.
They are, and I'm not trying to bash on descriptors. They're needed, right?
No, yeah,
you have to guide
exactly.
people.
You want to tell them. You
You're
want
like,
to
hey, these
sell
are
them
the
an
flavors
adventure.
you are supposed to taste.
Yeah.
But I mean, I know. You can go through our Untapped list, and you'll see a guy that, and for a while I had him as my screensaver on my phone. It'll say for like Lovely Day, one guy, he said something like no hop profile
day.
whatsoever, and then the one. Just coincidentally, the one next to it said "way too hoppy of a beer."
Yeah, I mean,
Was it Clint? Was it Clint?
That's personal preference.
Was it me?
So some of those things are no wins.
What
But
was the handle? Call out the handle.
So you kind of go for the same thing. I mean, the flavor profiles that we do, we can only describe the beers the way that we interpret them.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of flavor profile, now that everybody but Clint and Tony are on the second beer,
Whoa! Hey! Whoa! What?
All right.
calm down
Yeah,
over there.
I was gonna wait to taste this, but
It tastes a little. I'm without judgment. It tastes a little bit like a mango taste. Almost.
Yeah, you'll get mango in there.
Yeah,
that is actually one of those descriptor words. You nailed it.
Nice.
Way to read off the can, Joel. Way to read off the can.
Cutter, please tell us all the flavors.
Getting some mango.
Chef Cutter.
Well, I'm reading off this can. Fuck you, Cutter.
I get mango. I do get a lot of mango on the nose. A little bit
nose.
of orange.
Yeah. Mango,
Orange.
Yeah,
Joel already said mango. Don't say mango.
All right.
What else, Cutter? Is there some coriander? Are there some raisins?
There might be some
Nature's
raisins in
fruit.
this.
Maybe some cloven bananas?
There's a hint
fruit?
of carrot. I don't know where the carrot's coming from.
But you know where it's going. But yeah, there's a lot of that mango aroma.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very
And
tropical
it's-
fruit based hop.
it's there.
And
It's
that's
very
why
tropical.
Yeah, tons on the
this,
aroma. Yeah.
this is our third
Nice.
hazy IPA in the series that we do. And this has been my favorite. We did an Oat House IPA. So these actually, on a 15 barrel batch, we use 100 pounds of rolled oats as well, just to give you a little mouthfeel to it.
Yeah.
Which I think helps tremendously especially with the hazy IPA craze going on.
Can you educate me on that? Because I'm a firm believer that people are just making up names for IPAs because it's so popular. But what makes a hazy IPA?
It's really just how you add the hop addition, and the primary reason is unfiltered. So
Okay.
you are getting a full hop blast in that beer. I mean, there's nothing we do
It's definitely
to
there.
restrict the hop aroma and flavor.
We're actually in the Heady Topper, which was the original. Wasn't that the original New England IPA? They have
you might be right. Yeah,
I think they have their own yeast that they use it flocculates very low.
Yeah, it's because they're out in Vermont and you can't get any yeast in Vermont.
Yeah, definitely pick up that, like, the bitterness is pretty much almost.
I wouldn't say it's really
it's
bitter.
not really
I mean, and
over the
that's the thing about the hazy IPA. It's more fruity, it's more juicy than your West Coast IPAs, which focus really on that bitter, that resinous.
It has that lingering, you know? Like, so right now, I took a sip a few seconds ago, and right now, the bitterness is just kind of lingering on the tongue. But other than that,
Clint says that a lot. About anything with hops.
Especially around you guys, you know?
Well,
you guys and not y'all?
What do you mean, you guys?
You individual guys.
Oh, okay. Just checking.
You individual
Just checking.
guys.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It's a big reason why I've kind of become, at first I was adverse to the New England IPA craze and the trend, and stylistically actually making it an official category. But I will admit that I think it is worthy of being
a
its own
second designation.
Yeah, because it did for me. It changed the game in hops. I don't look at IBUs as a number anymore, or as a chart.
There's
really,
ways of
because that juice cuts through a lot of that lingering bitterness.
And the thing is, I mean, you can do your IBUs, and it's like that's how much hops, how much alpha acid you're having going in. That really doesn't tell you.
Right.
It can be a totally different taste.
Yeah, and I used to pay a lot of attention to the cohumulones in hops, just because that'll dictate the harshness of a hop, and that to me was always that residual bitterness that would either be
that's
off-putting
something
or
that I don't like. Mosaic, I think, has a lot of bitterness which a lot of people are using. And
you mean the hipster hop?
The hipster hop.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people in the commercial brewing industry that will not use Mosaic. So yes.
I'm not a fan. So myself, but yeah.
So I assume that you're not a huge IPA fan.
I was saying earlier, so I definitely have a respect and an appreciation for them that I didn't have originally opening Whitestone. So it's something that's grown on me.
What about these breweries that are putting out like 15 IPAs?
Oasis.
I don't have anything against that. I wouldn't do it that way myself, but that's
obviously
it is a very creative industry, and that's the beauty of it is that you can open a brewery and do exactly what you want.
I mean, it's like you're creating your own thing.
Yeah,
and it says something about who you are.
Put it this way: there's no reason why you can't do that and be successful. So I'll say
that is true. Yeah,
I would like
Hops
to
and
put
grains,
those 15 hot. From one brewery, like side by side, and blind taste test them, and be like, "Can you really tell the difference from one to the next?"
I mean,
but I think
in
like
what
they're trying to do, that's not even necessary. They're going to be successful either way, depending on their market.
I mean, you get into that, and it's like, how much are you actually just like kind of cannibalizing your own market at that point? Like, you have 15 different IPAs.
Well, that's what we go through. When we pick a seasonal, our thing is being a very diverse brewery. And that's always going to be our thing.
And there's tons of stuff for anybody. Like, if you don't want an IPA, you got the Kolsch.
Oh yeah, just looking at your top 8 list.
If you want to have
those are all different and very strong.
We're going to have to talk about. Because,
But what I was trying to get at was, what's your favorite beer that you have?
Whoa! Hey, are
That's
we
a
already
big question.
Are we getting to that question?
that he has right now
that we have here at Whitestone? So
It's blonde.
I get asked that a lot.
It's a good beer.
Yeah, if you ask Kevin, he serves me a blonde every single time, and not that blonde's not a good beer.
It's a good beer.
I was
beer.
resistant to that style just because I think blondes are boring in general, and that's why we put a little.
Gentlemen prefer blondes.
Yes. Well, what blonde are we talking about here? But
guys,
I'm a fan of the
His wife's
ambers.
blonde.
Guys, blondes are long gone though. So
all right.
So, if I answer that question just straight off consumption, I've actually consumed more Lovely Day in this place than any other beer.
Interesting.
And I would have never said that.
And I think that's what
I got you.
when I talked to Chris, I think he said that was his favorite.
Yeah, we developed that recipe and went forward with that beer, knowing you IPA is a very competitive category, right? Everybody's tasting an IPA and saying,
yeah, but I think
like
you
or don't
guys,
like those
you guys
hops.
do something a little different. So
Yeah, and I think it was an unconventional IPA for how we get stereotyped too, because Chris came from Stone, so everybody expects this big, aggressive,
I was wondering where he came
arrogant
from,
bastard style
IPA,
and
that is something
it's
that
not
I
that.
try to avoid myself. I probably will never drink another Stone. I don't know.
Yeah, so
Whitestone.
Whitestone. Okay,
it's funny. So a quick side note on that. So the first, and we play really well with Stone. We love Stone.
Yeah,
but so one of the names that we were going to come up with was, because we're obviously Whitestone and we're in a quarry and we were thinking of this quarry theme stuff.
Whitestone
and
Boulevard.
We've kind of beat that dead horse, but
hey, Dead Horse IPA. Hey, you beat them. Patent pending.
So one of the names was going to be Stone Crusher, and then we were like, oh yes, awesome, and then we had to sit back and think like that probably won't be seen very well from Stone.
I think there's. Oh,
Shots
do
fired.
you guys have a beer that's
It's
called
Rock
Stone
Crusher. So
Rock
we changed it from
Crusher.
Stone Crusher to Rock Crusher for that reason.
That's where I was connecting. I was like, oh
Yeah.
wait, I heard that before. Yeah.
We thought
For our
Stone might give us
listeners,
the big-
though, it should be Stone Crusher.
Yeah, so our Stone Crusher double IPA.
Stone Crusher double.
I like this. I like both names, but
Yeah, we just decided to call out the head brewer's former employer, just right out of the gate.
That's right.
Yeah, well,
how you should do it.
I was going to ask where Chris came from, because it was something that you say on your website is you decided to go with a commercial brewer, somebody that's done this before, instead of just doing it yourself or hiring somebody like fresh out of
brewery school.
Yeah, brewery school.
Yeah.
Seidel, or I don't even know how you pronounce it, but
that was an easy decision for me. I'm a pretty realistic dude when it comes down to it, and
you want somebody that knows what they're doing. Not like their first job out of the gate.
Yeah, I think any home brewer that's rational will always tell you there is going to be a huge learning curve. Yeah, I'm not rational in a lot of respects, but that one I am. But
I only did a gallon, and I was like, what the fuck's going on? I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, there's a lot of differences with when you go commercial, and just even to the types of products that
and
you're
then
buying.
scaling
Cleaning products,
up, and
it's tricky, and scaling recipes is I mean, Chris probably spends the most time just on scheduling. He actually doesn't even do any of the brewing anymore. Steven does all our brewing because he's scheduling, recipe formulation. I mean, that stuff takes. The creative energy in a brewery takes a ton of time to underestimate.
Which I had talked to him about that when I met him for your meet and greet at a local liquor store.
Of course, that's where we like to meet.
TWC?
But no,
TWM?
Anyway. But yeah, and I asked him about scaling up, and he was telling me about your labeling procedure with TABC, where you have to you submit your beer, and then it's like weeks and weeks until you actually get approval to sell it.
Yeah.
So he was doing small batches for those, and then getting label approval, and then having to scale up to a large batch. And he said, oh, that's not a problem. And it's like, well, I've heard it is a problem. I don't know, but
it is. I mean, we've just become accustomed to it. I mean, and when you're inside your own four walls, you develop your own processes, and I assume that other breweries do it this way because to me, it's the most efficient with the restrictions we have.
That sounds like a good way to do it.
We do a pilot batch. We immediately send that pilot batch off for testing because, I mean, we have the beer in mind.
Who wants
we have
to do
the
a
ABV
full
in mind.
batch and have it sitting there? I mean,
But TBC, I will say, to their credit, has gotten a lot better with that. You know, when we first started, label approval was
I heard after they fired who was running TABC and hired this other person.
I think her last name was Cook.
Yeah. So now it is infinitely faster.
Yes.
From what I've
they've made great improvements to that. Amanda Brothers is awesome because even if there's something on the label that she'll just pick up the phone and call you. I appreciate that. You can talk to her. A great example is the most recent approval that we just got was Ubergang, which is crossover pale ale.
Crossover we're calling it. I wasn't there. I apologize.
No,
so we call it that because it's
two different styles, right?
100% German ingredients across the board. So there is no German pale ale, so we decided to call it a German pale ale. So it's crossover, right? So on the label proof, I put Ubergang German Pale Ale. They kicked it back because you cannot use the word German.
German and
it would have
pale
to
ale.
say German style, so you cannot use a regionally based name.
Right.
Wait,
right.
But you have your Kolsch.
You have to say Kolsch style, right?
Your
so you
Kolsch
can.
style.
That's a geographically protected beer, which is only 3 in the world.
That's something kind of weird, but yeah.
That's only to EU. Yeah.
So that's interesting. So you're saying that people who say Kolsch style don't necessarily have to say Kolsch style. They could say Kolsch.
Karbach.
Yes.
Let it. Oh. This guy by
Just fired.
Love Street over here.
I may have had Love Street
The
2
Kolsch
days
style
ago.
blonde. What is it? A Kolsch or a blonde?
You've had it 2 weeks or 2 weeks.
Yeah, I've seen a couple pictures of you with some Love Street.
I don't pick
Not
a lot
to
of the
call
beers
you out,
I
but we're
drink.
calling you out.
I don't. When you're in
you
sales,
don't pick the beer picks you. Is that what you're saying?
when you're in sales, somebody hands you a beer and they're like, "Hey, you got to drink this."
Look,
and I was like, "Okay."
Look, Love Street is
but you gotta buy something from me. Is that how that works?
The point that I told you guys was I am angling to become the Friday beer buyer at my company. It's a prestigious.
So it's a really big deal.
Yeah. So what you're saying is you're going to do all Whitestone.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I heard.
You can
Absolutely.
You've got an IPA to pick from. You've got a blonde. You've got a Kolsch.
If you are at the specs by my
12 different
office,
styles
I
on
will
tap all the
totally
time.
buy that.
Now,
or
if you could get
the Total Wine or Twin Liquors, whichever one's closer.
if you could get a porter canned, but I don't know. Maybe not.
Do you guys can your porter?
No.
And
a crowler, yes.
We talked about that.
You know,
on this podcast.
I need to
Just a
get
minute ago.
growlers for
if you
work.
really want
I have 2 growlers in my car right now.
If you really want to be the beer guy for your company, you're going to have to come up here, get growlers of stuff, and take it back. And
That is doable.
Go to that next level.
That is doable.
So they can try some real good, high quality Texas exclusive beer.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's what they call taking initiative.
Well, but I think the point is, and it's gotten a lot of kickback at work, is some of the people who pick beers
Who wants Modelo?
will pick Modelo. They'll
Modelo
pick,
Especial?
Well,
What the
Negra.
No.
Okay, Negra is fine, although you can do a lot better than that.
but it's the
not
idea
that bad.
of a lot of
But
people at the
Especial?
office,
it is not that Especial, okay?
but they're not necessarily beer drinkers. So they'll be like, oh, I want to get something that everyone will enjoy.
Yeah, we can do that.
And
Well,
if
you
you're
can get a
picking-
Kolsch, a Whitestone Kolsch. Everybody will like it.
Well, when you talk about accessibility, I mean,
We have a boat
when
on
you-
the front.
when
It's
you
very
s- when
accessible.
you s- But when you see the
I
name
love it.
Kolsch, I don't know what
It's
a Kolsch
converting
is.
one taste bud at a time.
But
Yeah,
I
and we have
think-
a lot of taste buds to convert.
I know.
We'll be around
We
forever.
discussed
like 12.
Take,
Yeah.
take the number of your people in the company, multiply
Multiply.
by 12.
We haven't converted all the taste buds in this place yet.
But yeah, I understand like seeing the name Kolsch and it's like I don't know what that is.
Whoa, that's German. I don't understand it.
Yeah, I'm gonna avoid something. I'm gonna try something that I've had. At least this Coors Light if I'm Cutter.
It's funny. Like when I used to travel, like the first thing I'd do, I'd walk into a bar. My mother taught me, if you want to meet people, go to the bar at the hotel. Tell you that's where you go. But it's bar at the hotel. What's local? It's all like, that's always the first question. I
Wait,
used to
but
ask.
you brought your own beer to Kansas.
Yeah, have you ever been to Kansas?
Hey, I can proudly say that I haven't.
I went to a tap room in Kansas, and I asked the lady, I was like, hey, what's good? See this Imperial Stout, is that worth having?
That's yours. Yeah, that's your style there.
And she goes, some people like it. I was like, do they like it because it's 10%, or do they like it
because it tastes good.
because it tastes, I don't know. And then I came and it was
tastes
like
like
no
death.
head. It was like filled to the top.
Well,
I was just like,
I mean,
but it'll get you drunk.
It'll get you drunk.
I don't really know what
Hey,
what's
Lawrence
going on here.
Lawrence, Kansas has some great beers. Free State was a really amazing brewery.
I've heard good things about Free
You said
State.
was.
when I tried.
Well,
I mean, I don't know today. They might have slacked off.
But then the
Before
Texas
Prohibition.
brewery explosion happened. So it was a good brewery until you got something from Texas. So
No, I mean, I tried the local beers
Just leave
everywhere I
it like,
traveled.
leave it like
Talking
that.
about Cutter.
Leave
Yeah,
it like that.
No, Kansas was a beautiful state, and Lawrence was an amazing
If you
city.
like corn.
It was like Austin if Austin was only like a fraction of the amount of people. It's a college town. It's very liberal. Like it was, it was a good place to visit.
It's a improper recognition of Kansas, is what you're saying.
Hey, I'm okay with that. I'm totally okay with that. I don't want to go to real Kansas.
Not
Please
the rest
don't.
of Kansas, just the college town.
I took Clint once. He'll never go
College
back.
towns I find college towns are a little bit better than.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
What are we?
Than the rest of the state.
What are we doing next?
I don't know. What are we doing next? Ooh, we're doing the Ubergang.
Okay
with that.
That is your newest
Ubergang.
one, right?
That's our newest, That's our
so
newest
we should try that.
Big Bash seasonal.
Into the beer.
I was going to yell at you, but then the microphone was right in my face, so I couldn't. Sorry, I guess I still
ahead.
can.
All
dude.
these-
Yell at him.
Yeah.
Shit, where am I at again?
All these other guys.
Kevin,
yell.
you're pouring the wrong beer.
I forgot that the labeling was wrong.
Oh, wait a second.
That sounds like a poor excuse for a salesperson.
He should just know.
Now,
Yeah.
what is it? That,
Sales guys
He's
just
so
have
good
to
he can
know.
sell the wrong beer. You know?
Yeah, right?
Now, what is
that's
it
the way
that
we meant to
Kevin
be. Probably
hates to
has.
say now? You named your amber the 14.
Oh, yes. So
Because Kevin hates.
we're a very collaborative naming brewery, so we try to let everybody in on the naming conventions.
Yeah.
Kevin has a hard time sometimes spelling long words. So Brueggerhoff was not a name that Kevin came up with. However,
agreed.
1431 and Boom Boom are all Kevin.
It's Boom Boom.
Oh, I read that.
was
Okay.
I was thinking about.
It's good to tie the name to
This
the
is
story.
the Kevin.
Yeah, this is the
Yes.
Kevin. Okay.
Kevin's our sales manager and comes up with our price sheet, so I usually have to I have to comply with whatever
Well,
he
he's got to
feels.
write it out, and so yeah.
So does he, when he goes to sell beer, he's like, you got to make some room for the boom boom.
So
Yeah.
There you go.
That's probably happened, actually. Yeah.
What is this? Brueggerhoff.
it's
He just says Beehoff.
Beehoff.
You guys want Beehoff?
All up in your beehoff.
Is this why Kevin embraces the fuck you cutter so much? Because he's like the cutter of your company?
It sounds
Oh
like
man,
it.
that's a loaded question.
That's a big
right there.
question.
Are we going to get a little of that?
We're getting deep here, guys.
Asking the hard-hitting questions.
Yeah, for the 5 minutes I've known Cutter, maybe that is no. Kevin's actually he's
terrible. Yeah, we know he's terrible.
Yeah, no, this is a bio on Kevin right now. No, Kevin fits in perfectly because we are a brewery that makes fun of ourselves all the time.
Oh yeah,
and I think you
Cutter
have to
would
be.
fit in perfectly.
Yes.
No, that's that. I mean, basically,
No, I
that's
know he's
what
the
cutter
cutter
is.
of Whitestone.
But in all reality, I would challenge any other brewery. I think we have the most experienced sales staff.
Yeah.
In the state, and they do a great job at. And that's all the good things I'll say about them. Now we can.
Let's get back to talking shit.
Yeah,
Come on.
That's way funner.
I've talked to Kevin and Michael a few times, and they are just great people. So.
And that's the big thing to me, right?
Hey, I just want to point out, guys. I want to pause the podcast. Kevin just handed me a perfectly poured beer. So
that does look amazing.
Yeah, this is a great one. We have an applause in the
Applause break.
room.
Practice makes perfect.
Although that one looks like cotton candy.
Hey, before we talk about this, can we talk about the last beer and what we thought of it?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
That IPA was delicious.
Yeah.
It definitely cut back on the hoppiness of the IPA. So reminiscent of, it does linger. The bitterness does hold on, but it's kind of reminiscent.
It's not
of
really
the,
like in your face.
No, it's reminiscent of the Fresh Coast.
Yeah,
like
it's more
when you drink
tropical,
it
more
up
juicy,
front.
yeah.
Up front, there's like no bitterness. It's got that fruity flavor. It's really good. I avoid IPAs, so I probably would go any other beer on the menu but that. But it's not overly bitter for anybody who's willing to try it. It's pretty solid.
The bitterness lingers. I love the fruit on the nose and front.
That mango. I'm a fan of mango, so
I'm an IPA in a hot summer day kind of type of guy though.
Yeah.
So it's like this is delicious.
Awesome.
Love it.
You're just an animal.
I am an animal.
IPA for
Look at
days.
this guy.
I'm more a blonde Kolsch Helles on a hot day.
So when we were talking about like our favorite beers, we always like to bring up the idea that each of us has a different flavor profile of what we like to drink. So myself, like we joke about the
Which
porters.
we don't talk about anymore. after like the second episode.
Well, but every once in a while we bring them up.
Raisins.
So I really like porters.
Yeah.
Clint is more of, would you say like
Malty lagers.
I'd say lager.
Lagers.
A malty lager where you can't taste any hops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not even
Keep
trying to knock
talking to
you.
me.
Not
Tell
even
me
trying
more.
to knock.
I'm similar.
Tell me more.
I'm a similar style.
Yeah.
I
Cutter
I
likes
like the malts.
everything.
I also like Hefeweizens.
I like the malts, but
Are
not
these
roasted. Yeah.
The best beer is a
Hefts.
beer.
Hefts are not lagers.
That's alcohol. I love it.
But
Cutter's like
Cutter
everything's
is
good.
accepting of every beer.
But the point that I'm trying to make is
Unless
that
it's got
not
yeast all in it.
everybody is into IPAs. Not everybody will go specifically to a hef. But I feel like your beers are very accessible. When we drank your IPA, I don't gravitate towards an IPA.
No.
But that's a great beer. You could start on that beer and it's not knock you over the head.
I mean,
We should have started on that beer.
We did. that would be Clint's.
This is gonna be the 12 beers in podcast in a minute.
Yeah.
Let's try them all, Johnny.
We'll see. I mean, you got to try everything.
Sponsored by Uber. Get home safe.
Sponsored by Ubergang.
Bingo.
Try to walk home later.
It's sponsored by Lyft, you guys.
Walk home.
Hey, Cutter.
But yeah, the IPA that we just had, which I keep forgetting the name.
Lovely day. Oh no!
No,
you're
we
talking
didn't have
about
Lovely
Azakuanot.
Day. Yeah,
Wait a second.
I try to get a plug for Lovely Day every time I can.
Lovely Day. Drink it.
Yes.
So even, having that and normally most IPAs, it would just kill your taste buds for the rest of the afternoon or rest of our session. But this Ubergang is coming through pretty nice after that. So I don't know if that's because of the Ubergang or because the Aquanaut. I'm assuming because
Azakuanot.
the Azakuanot was not what. Aquabats was not.
Is that a Pokemon or something?
That was a band.
Oh dear God, I hope.
It's a band. It's the Aquanaut.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I don't think that's really as overpowering as a lot of IPAs that I've had. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's the point that I'm trying to get to. Circling back to what I said about being the buyer for Friday beer. If I walked in there with a pale ale from just to the
Tell
company
them to try it, but
telling people
aren't
who
going
don't
to,
drink beer,
no, I understand.
oh, hey, you need to try this Ubergang Pale Ale. That's a hill
Hard
to climb.
Wait. So you're saying that's a hard sell? You can't sell that.
No, I can't.
You'll run right into.
But
Wait,
the idea is
you can't sell the Uber gangbang? What?
I don't think that's the name.
I thought y'all had moved on to something else. My bad.
No, it's the idea of
the super.
I feel like people are more accepting of these more interesting beer types. Where I still know the people who will only drink Coors.
But Coors, something
Or
that they
who
know.
will only
exactly.
hey, I only drink Shiner. I've drank Shiner since college. That's what I'm going to pick.
Yeah,
Well,
it takes a step to go that little bit to
Absolutely.
try something that you've never had.
Well, but
And
these
it's
are things you could find in an HEB.
Yeah.
Or you can find in your local bar. And
There's
it's
an HEB
that
right
that
over there.
alone is a step towards.
do you distribute to that
I think what
HEB?
Tony is trying to say is if you see a Whitestone beer in an HEB,
Pick it up.
Buy it. Buy it now.
No, so
try it.
I mean, you're pretty much describing what we went to bat with when we opened this brewery and we said we're going to be a diverse brewery. Our core beers 1 through 6 were from the malt bill that we chose to the hops to everything were to be approachable beers, clean transition, and a crisp finish. That was important to us because we have a demographic here in Cedar Park. Cedar Park is still a very rapidly growing community. So you have everything from maybe a few people that do appreciate their IPA and really pick it apart, but a majority is going to be the person that comes in and goes, give me a Lone Star, give me a Dos Equis.
Man, I've had a lot of Lone Stars.
And you need something.
And I still do, by the way. I'm not above that.
Hey, at $2, you can't beat a Lone Star.
At $2, you know.
Hey, on Rainy Street, that's a $6 beer.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, it's local.
It's local.
Not
At my
really.
store, it's like
not
a
actually,
$2 six pack.
But the thing is you have to make something that is going to be accessible for someone who only drinks Lone Star or only drinks Bud Light or something like that. So you need something that
have you thought about printing on the can better than Lone Star?
I have not thought about that yet, but now you've opened my horizons.
Hey, they can't sue you because it's true.
It's not false marketing.
I mean, you could slap that on the Kolsch and just be like better than Lone Star.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you want
that is a style. It's actually a style.
You'd want a better than Lone Star is the style.
Yes.
You
like our better than Lone Star.
BJCP is working on it.
The converter better than Lone Star.
Yes.
But yeah, you start people off by transitioning them to some sort of other light beer that's not
a bridge,
light beer. Yeah, you need that bridge, and then that's what you fill, right? You're the bridge. Every other craft beer company,
we're the bridge brewery. Yes.
That's right.
But you're right. I mean, it's a good point.
It's like, hey, establish yourself as like the bridge between craft beer and mass scale beer. Like,
absolutely.
Like, hey, here we are. We have this wide range. You start with a Pilsner, a Kolsch, a Helles, even one of those three, right? Yeah. And from there, now you've entered the world of craft beer. Now let's expand your horizon.
Yeah, you've kind of explained. I mean, that really is our philosophy, and my passion is barrel aging. So we're slowly getting into barrel aging.
Oh my God, I love barrel aging.
We're trying to get that in our homebrew. We're
it's just so interesting,
steps.
right? You just never know the product you're going to get.
We've made two beers, and now we're like, let's start barrel aging. Yeah.
Cutter's got a barrel from Garrison Brothers.
Yeah, I do.
Nice.
We want to put a wee heavy in.
Yeah.
Whoa! You got a barrel from Garrison Brothers?
He's had it for a while.
Indeed, yeah.
Like this big.
It's
like
5
5 gallon. Yeah, I've looked into those.
Yeah.
Hey,
We'll bring you some when
quit
we're
creeping.
done with it.
Please do. I would love it. Yeah.
So
I thought about bringing you the amber that we made, but I was like,
we don't want to
it's
force
too,
anybody to drink that.
Like, it's too like basic bitch beer, you know?
It is. I mean,
Hey, I'm sorry I called it that. I really am.
No, it's fine. I literally followed exactly what the instructions were. So,
but
like,
it's good to build.
I still enjoy
build
tasting
from.
that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
If you bring it to me, I won't turn my nose up at it.
relative to the 1431, it was sweeter and less.
Good.
Yeah, less good.
There wasn't a whole lot.
That's my kind of description right there.
I would say it was sweeter, but there wasn't any malt taste to it.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Just
feel
a little bit more bland.
I really feel like that was
exactly.
the extract that they sent me. Like the extract was just overly
It was the golden.
sweet.
I can't remember what it was. But
But anyway,
For me, I typically judge a brewery on their amber, and like the
Amber's like
1431
middle of the
starting
road,
off on
isn't
it,
it?
it's middle of the road, but it's like if you can't do
you
amber
can, like,
right,
yeah.
you can't do a lot of things right. And
I
so
get that.
this was a knocking out of the park. It's like I tried the 1431 and I was like, absolutely, I want to try your adventurous stuff at that point.
That's really the and again that's a Blacklands beer, so you kind of do that not knowing what kind of profile you get until you're there. So
because I guess Blacklands is new, so yeah,
it's new, and he's always the Amber Waves malt that he came across he actually did it accidentally. It was a kiln temperature, so I think that's cool.
Yeah,
it's like,
just experimenting
let's
with
try it.
malt. Yeah, I would do that. Now, Cutter, you had something to say earlier. We might have
stepped all over
way
that.
past it. Doesn't remember.
Way past it now. I have no idea.
look,
Come on.
this is the motto of the podcast.
you know.
Y'all
Oh,
know
yeah.
it. Fuck Cutter,
Oh yeah. So one of the questions we ask every once in a while is there anything that you're drinking that you don't make that you would really recommend? That's kind of like out there, like that's kind of
What's your favorite beer that you don't.
Yeah.
Know?
I mean, what I think you meant to ask was
Non-Whitestone beer that I would love to have.
Because I know Cutter recently turned us on to like Founders and like just kind of
KBS.
Let me guess.
They
hold
just
on.
got
the Carbach Love Street Kolsch.
Hey guys, that was one time.
That was not one time.
That was two times.
the Carbach blonde, the blonde, right? It's a blonde.
It's a Kolsch.
blonde Kolsch.
Kolsch or
Kolsch.
blonde?
No, it's a
Kolschy
Kolsch.
blonde.
A blonde style Kolsch.
It's a blonde Kolsch.
Kolsch style blind is what the tap
Yes,
kind
that's
of
the one I
says.
want. So, I mean, since opening this, I really like my beer repertoire has just been diminished. So, I don't,
Oh,
yeah,
wow,
of course.
okay.
Yeah.
and I'm
But-
keto now, so I don't even drink beer.
yeah.
But no, I'm just kidding. I drink beer. Don't judge me.
What
You're gonna like just take out the beer that's in front of him and all the social media posts.
He drinks
right?
kombucha.
For the
Is that what
record,
you're
like
saying?
I'm no longer in
Kombucha,
ketosis. This is
vodka
like my
tonic,
fifth beer,
like,
so
yeah.
ketosis is out the window right now.
but yeah.
Just
All right.
put it
Favorite
in
beer,
beers.
non-Whitestone.
I'm a huge Firestone Walker fan. So
Really? Okay.
Matt Brindleson, I actually used to work with
Their
his wife.
805 is pretty nice.
So I'm
I
very
drank the
familiar with
805
brewery,
before I
and
came over here.
that's probably my least favorite beer of theirs. Not to say it's not a good beer. I'm not a fan of the
It's a
style
great
more than
pool
anything.
beer.
Great pool beer, yeah. Goes down easy.
Yeah. All right.
So if I had like the one beer I would like to try that I've not tried from Firestone yet is their Adverse. It's their double IPA in the.
Whoa. IPA.
Oh, no, double IPA.
I know. See, I totally turned the corner. Now I'm interested in IPAs, but Matt Brindleson is like in my opinion, the hop guru. Like that guy.
Yeah.
He just works magic with hops. And
What about Dogfish Head?
No.
Sam does too. I mean, he puts out super. I'm a fan of anybody that takes risks and does interesting stuff. And Sam is
trying
a catalyst in that
Yes,
respect.
exactly.
So, but Matt,
I mean,
just
when
respect
they
his talents.
started, they were brewing for the restaurant, and they had just like 3 5-gallon batches that they would do.
Yeah.
And so they were constantly brewing.
And plus, Sam
constantly
makes a beer that
doing
he
different
spits in,
stuff.
so I'm like, I want that beer.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
we
That's
had
creepy.
their dragons and yum yums, which was okay.
I think we were pretty split on that one,
Yeah,
but
we
we were
were.
also very
had
drunk when we tried
yes,
it.
Yes, exactly.
Hey,
we had already
Hey,
had.
Cutter, how
plenty
was
of-
Dragon Yum Yums?
Yeah, speaking of
Cutter had to
experimentation,
leave in the middle of
Yeah.
it because he couldn't take anymore.
it was a good beer.
So
Enjoyed
I'm a
the
big
beer.
fan
Love
of
the
Flaming
beer.
Lips, and they paired on that one
Yeah,
with Dragons
yeah.
and Yum Yums.
No,
Okay.
don't. Just,
Would you
No.
pair with a local Texas musician for a beer?
Sure.
Okay. that's the end of
I
it.
know that's not the answer you wanted to hear, but give me Willie. Willie, let's do a beer
Oh,
together.
Yeah,
Come on.
There you go.
I was hoping Gary Clark.
I don't know if he
but-
drinks.
hey,
we play a bunch of
yeah.
stuff.
Oh yeah. I don't know if Willie drinks. I think he just smokes.
I will smoke with you, Willie, if you do a beer with us.
Smoked
And I don't smoke.
beer.
Willie doesn't drink. I don't smoke. So there we go. We'll do both.
I feel like he might destroy you.
Oh, for sure.
But you don't
yes.
like smoked beers, is what I.
Oh. Weed smoked beer. I'm
There
just
we go.
saying.
Yeah.
Hop smoked.
can you distribute a wheat?
Lagunitas.
Got a little bit of
ruling on that?
cannabinoid in there.
I think the market will be tested with the release of hemper. I know there's no THC in it, but next year you're going to
Right.
see a ton of hempers on the market.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we started.
I
seeing it
would
this year.
love to see
Yes, you
that
will.
become legal in Texas. Like, I it's a question that's come up on a couple of our different.
The Republican Party just adopted a
I saw
legalization platform. So
I
Well,
saw
if they want
that.
more
there's
money.
nothing really standing in
money.
the way.
Yeah.
But
Tax
the
it.
idea is that like hops and the marijuana, like the bud, is
It's the same family.
Yeah, they're cousins.
Yeah.
And if it's
I
all
mean,
money, it's all taxes going to Texas.
Yeah.
How are you going to be against
great
that?
state of
I've
Texas.
actually never understood why the legalization is so slow with marijuana because, especially
I don't know.
with
It's
governments, it doesn't matter what
Yeah.
side of the aisle you're
Yeah.
on.
Oh, yeah.
It's money. And
Yeah, exactly.
governments like money. So
Yeah.
Are they kissing cousins?
probably. Yeah.
It was a love between two cousins that the world thought was wrong, but it was the world that was wrong.
You and your kissing cousin.
Why not? Sure.
I do
You're
not
saying-
want to know your
Are
cousin.
you suggesting
I don't
we
know.
crossbreed hops and weed and create something new and use that in beer?
Well, the thing is,
Or smoke it. Yeah, why
Lagunitas
not?
has their Waldos, and then they have their
Brian's over here
420,
shaking his head like,
which is kind of like
Hold
I've
on.
heard the 420 is like drinking weed.
Oh,
Pretty much.
I don't know about
Yeah,
that.
I
Have you
wouldn't
guys ever
want
been
that.
out to their facility in California, their
No.
original facility?
No.
The whole thing, they still have their little upstairs room where they got busted for smoking pot. It's like Tony McGee he embraces his pot. Tony will probably be the first one to market with that
There you
that
go.
beer. So I wouldn't put it past him.
As long as it's not another IPA, we don't
It's
need
go-
that.
It's
we
going
do
to
not
be,
need
an
to be
IPA.
another
If it's
IPA.
Lagunitas, it's going to be an IPA.
Yeah.
So I'm going to Denver next week, and I don't say it's a struggle, but it's like a lot of their small brewery, their target demographic has been going to the dispensaries, and they've seen some of that disposable income going to the weed industry. It's interesting to think of if Texas moved over into the legalization. How do you see that impacting you as a
craft brewer.
Craft brewer?
I mean, I would see it nothing as positive, but I mean, it just opens more creativity.
Yeah.
You know, so I have no problem with the legalization of marijuana. And I think for whether we do any kind of pot-based beer, probably not, because I look at hemper and like somebody orders that on the tap and the entire room fills up with that smell. And then from a
Yeah.
line cleaning perspective, you guys don't see the behind the scenes, but you basically got to replace
Yeah,
that line. So
exactly.
it's
Would you call it a pure hazy IPA?
yeah. Yeah,
You've just kind of tainted the taste of the beer.
Oh man, yeah, it's amazing to me. I was probably slow to the whole Hemperor thing, but I was just in San Antonio at Growler Exchange, and I didn't even know about it. And somebody ordered, and I'm like, "Holy shit, what is that?"
It filled up the room,
the whole room.
Yeah,
it was. Arguably, it was. I smelled that faster than if somebody just lit up a joint. I shit you not.
That carbonation just like releases it into the air and just like pushes it out. You know?
Yeah, there's probably science behind that.
So I have a trademark for you guys.
Nerds.
So if you guys end up, if that gets legalized in Texas, I think we'll trademark this. But it's like there's people who are there's a certain type of person who always says, "I only smoke when I drink."
Oh,
I think
no,
that would be perfect.
Cigarettes, Joel.
Yeah, but no, we don't have to specify.
Yeah.
We don't have to specify.
So how long have you guys been brewing?
So we signed a lease
2.5?
here in October 2014. Took us 13 months to build it out. Opened in the first year in 16. So basically 2.5 years.
All right.
Yeah.
I read on the website, so you guys you looked at the space.
Don't read the website. I keep it up to date, which is not up to date.
It was one of
That's
those
why it
things.
says one taste bud at a time.
Yeah. it was one of those things that you like look at the space and it goes, most people wouldn't put a brewery here. That's all.
Yeah, I think that's still true. I mean, you definitely have more of a variety of breweries opening up. Obviously, the number of breweries we have now, and I'm stoked it's making a comeback.
But none
And
as good
especially
as
Texas.
Whitestone.
None as good as Whitestone, of course.
None.
But yeah, this was a very unconventional place. I think, obviously retail square footage you pay a higher price for, so it has to. You're kind of forced into a taproom model,
Right.
Yeah.
So we put a big emphasis on the taproom, but it also goes along with how we wanted to come up with the recipes and release the beers. Is diverse brewery. What better thing to have than a taproom where you have regulars, and we have a pub club of about almost 300 people now. So
Whoa.
honest feedback is really hard to find when you open a brewery. You can be a shitty brewery and people are like, "Yeah, it's good beer," and then they walk off.
That is true.
That's like Ross over
But
there.
you get
like,
regulars. And
Yeah.
that's all, yeah.
There-
I mean, 1 in 10
sorry,
people
hold
maybe are the type that go, "Yeah, I don't care for that," But our regulars will say, like, "I don't care for that style," or I don't
That's
like this.
That's really what you want. I mean, you want honest
That's exactly what you want.
feedback.
Yeah. You're not going to hurt my feelings. Just give it to me.
I mean, it might hurt your feelings, but it'll be good.
Yeah. I might go and, slip my wrist a couple times, but
I really want to know
Just so we're
what
clear.
I can do to improve. Which I mean, we've asked from like day one on the podcast. Like nobody's responded. But,
Yeah, just so we're clear.
Actually, it was
Ross
just
has posted
Tony and-
3 of our reviews on iTunes.
I only did one. I did one.
He paid 2 other people.
And we're trying to get for the 10th review. We'll drink what you want.
Yeah.
So review us on iTunes, please. Anyway, but
it's good to get the feedback on the different beer styles and stuff like that. But you also have to like me. Obviously, I said earlier, an IPA. I'm gonna be like, nope, that's way too hot.
yeah, that's what you want. That's your
so,
profile.
Like, you weigh that with like the rest of what you're hearing about that specific style of beer, right? Like you're like, oh yeah, this one guy. Okay, IPAs just aren't his style, but
yeah,
IPA drinkers, they're like, oh yeah, this is great. Right, so you have to like keep that into consideration, right?
I mean, I've always been intrigued by just what makes a great beer. Like, there's the obvious stuff, but like Russian River has had Pliny on for
Pliny the Elder,
and they just got rated again #2. But he's been in that top 5 of beers for I want to say 10 years, and it's such an anomaly. And Vinny's great, like. I actually lived in Santa Rosa at one point, lived right next to Russian River. And they're great, and I love what he's done, and he kicks out great beers. And
Where's this out of? California?
Yeah.
Santa Rosa.
Northern California.
Northern California, like
about 60 miles north of San Francisco.
Yeah, exactly. North of Oakland, but yeah.
Yeah. My dad actually lived in Oakland, so yeah.
Oh, okay, there you go. But did you go to the Charles Schultz Museum?
I did.
Oh, there you go.
Been many times, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Nobody else can say that.
I can say it.
So, I lost track of what I was saying. But
sorry.
I figured it'll come back at some point.
Pliny the Elder. Pliny.
Oh, yeah. So great beers. Like I've always been intrigued by that question because it's a unique industry in the sense that we're using the same 4 ingredients. Granted, you have adjuncts and things like that can change a beer, but in general, we're all pretty much on the same playing field, right? And we're using the same stuff, and it's how great can it be? And so I'm just now starting to like really analyze a beer and say like, why does jellyfish take off? Why does this? So, in my opinion, like Whitestone, I love our beers and we pride ourselves on really doing clean transition, accentuating the malt and the hop profile in all beers. And
that's what I enjoy of it. Yeah,
but you can always improve. There's always improvement for a beer. So I just kind of geek out on just. And it's part of the fun of being a diverse brewery too. Is like we don't have one style to focus on. We're not pigeonholing ourselves into one. We're trying to challenge ourselves and do 12 different styles.
Well, I feel like
you have something different that everybody can want. But
yeah,
I feel like being that transitional style. It's like you have that person that's just getting into craft beer. So you do that.
Another goal.
Yeah. So you're
gonna have to turn the TVs off on this podcast.
I told you have British blood
guys
running
run a
through
really
this guy.
deep topic.
He can't do it. Man, he didn't even cross
you have
anything.
that- you
He
have
just
that
went straight for it.
2 in a row.
You have that
I'm listening to
transitional
you, Cutter.
style. Yeah, I got you.
Fuck
But
you,
it's,
Cutter.
That is the second fuck you Cutter from Kevin.
yeah, it's true.
He was the first to find Cutter in the wild.
Yeah, he was the first. Kevin was the first to find me in the wild.
That's the
It's like
I know you.
But being that transitional
you,
style,
Kevin.
it like leaves that open. That like, oh hey, I want to go visit them. I want to. I want to try their experimental beers. I want to see what else is out there from them. So I feel like that's the way in, opposed to the 15 IPA like way in.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, I'm not trying to beat up any of those breweries that do that. There's obviously been,
Oasis.
I've done a Reed Daniels class for
Stone.
Siebel, and
Idlevine. Sorry, too soon? Too soon?
So pour one out.
You gotta understand, like back in the day, 10 years ago, there were people that would a lager brewery, for instance.
Right.
You're gonna do all lagers, you are fucking crazy, right? You'll never make it. And now you have some of the greatest breweries that are lager only breweries, right?
Once I don't know, you have to constantly be lagering but like once you get them out, bang, 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 then you're like you got these others.
It's all
waiting
scheduling.
Exactly. But if you start out like doing ales and then you're waiting for lagers, then it's like there's this big gap in between your ales and your lagers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely tough to manage, and I can see why people choose one or the other.
Yeah.
And, it is a challenge for us to do that, and it puts a strain on certain aspects of the business.
Yeah, and it's like you gotta, your yeasts are working at different temperatures, so you gotta have
that
like
refrigeration
different,
and all that.
yeah.
And the other aspect is we have, 3 to 4 yeast strains all the time, which is a little bit unusual too.
Right,
a lot of breweries will just say, we're going to do one house yeast.
Exactly, yeah.
So... But again, I think the beauty of beer is variety to me. So I enjoy doing that. It's not,
and that's like.
So if anybody ever tells me like, you guys started Whitestone, you're trying to, do you want to sell? You get that question all the time. If Anheuser-Busch walked up at your door, would you sell? And I'm like,
whoa.
I obviously did not get in this to get rich, like overnight, because it is not that type of industry, right?
Well, hey, can I jump in here real quick?
No.
So I just visited your bathroom. I just visited your bathroom.
Oh boy,
and,
I don't know what's coming right now.
And
did you wash your hands?
I did.
Okay, good.
I did.
Thank you for that.
But I just want to point out the fact that you have a very interesting keg in the bathroom.
Oh yeah, you visited that bathroom. Yeah.
I visited that.
So we are a
bathroom.
satellite Budweiser brewing facility. You didn't know that?
Yeah. You guys are brewing a piss beer, apparently.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't put it that way.
Well, you're giving them a keg of. So there is the urinal is a keg.
Tony doesn't hold back,
The urinal, guys, you haven't been there. The urinal is a keg
because I can hold my bladder.
All right.
It's hilarious. I just wanted to point out that fact.
Let's clarify. Anheuser-Busch just likes to refer to it as their beer.
Their beer, but I'll call it piss beer though.
Have you guys heard of America?
Hey, Tony, you just pissed on America. How does that make you feel? Good as a
it's
slimy
like
Brit,
pissing on
I'm sure.
bald eagle, man.
I just helped to fill an Anheuser-Busch keg.
Yeah, right.
You're doing your part.
Yeah,
doing your part.
They're InBev now.
Hey, but if you're growing corn, you love Anheuser-Busch.
That's a corny,
They are
that's
the
a
number
corny
back.
statement.
They are the
hold on.
number one buyers of
Going
corn
back
in
to like
America.
what makes a great beer, it's like
Corn.
They're
no.
Miller.
I will not put corn in my
InBev,
beer.
all of them. Like they have so much market share. They appeal to so much of the
Well,
mass
they have
public.
the lobbyists.
Yeah, they're not going away.
Well, no. But like, what do you judge a great beer on? Like, oh, we sell more beer than any other fucking company in the world.
And some people that works.
Does that make us a great beer? No. Us craft beer people would be like, no, your beer is shit. And they're like, well, explain how we sell more than any other beer.
Well, it's so cold. That's why it's the best beer.
Cold. Okay.
The Rockies are blue. Yeah.
That's a different company.
Shit.
Come on, Brian. Come on, man.
I
can't
think
keep
Cutter
track
had
of 'em.
something to add.
That's where you guys are messing up. You don't have the
Yeah, but fuck
coldest
Cutter.
beer in the
I know.
store.
We've had people leave because our temperature was not cold enough. The Rockies were not blue enough.
Yeah. You should make your cans change color.
That's what it is. You gotta make it so cold that people can't really taste it.
Since we're in Texas, we're going to be like it'll be a flat plain and we'll turn green instead.
What you really need,
Say
what you
once
really
the
need,
boat is blue.
Once the boat is
what you really need is like when you peel back the label, it says "fuck you, Cutter."
Yes.
I'm not
That
opposed
is,
to that.
that is what we're working towards.
I mean, if you really want to dominate market share,
That's actually a growing market.
So you guys are hired. You're going to do your podcast here every day.
I just want to point out that Cutter's mom just laughed at that joke. So.
Audibly.
yay Mustang Sally!
Well, see, Uncle Billy's got what's his name? TBC approved. Clusterfuck. Maybe we can get fucking Cutter. I'll give it a shot.
I want to buy that beer.
That will be the only beer in my fridge.
It's gonna suck.
4 layers of
What a coincidence! It would be the only
that
beer in
doesn't
my
matter
fridge.
if it sucks. It's still.
It could
mean,
be the exact same
It should
Kolsch.
suck. If it's fuck you, Cutter, it should suck.
Yeah, I will buy that if it's just the Kolsch.
Yeah, if
but
it's
with a
the
different
Kolsch.
can, I'm gonna buy that can.
Well, it's like the general mass market. Are they going to be like, who is this Cutter, and why don't we like him? But
And
this
then-
is really good
and then
beer.
And then they
starting
see
to get
his
slapped on the
picture.
Just look at him.
Anyway,
Nice.
so we have been drinking the Ubergang, but have not talked about it at all.
Oh, sorry.
We touched on it.
This is a healthy dose of my favorite, again, Mandarina. So
Yeah.
again, all German. This was just one of those seasonals that we sat and with a really hectic schedule this year said,
Yeah.
all right, we got a small window here. What can we do? And pale ales, we get, I wouldn't say a lot of requests for them, but a lot of our regulars like pale ales, and
Yeah.
it's just easy drinking. They come in 3-4 times a week, and so we kind of
And
try to please
quick
them with
to
the
make,
pale.
pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, and then to just kind of take a turn from what we typically do, we said be cool to just do all German ingredients.
Yeah.
Throw in a little Mandarina, which I love that hop, so I think it offers up a good profile, and that's why we put it in Lovely Day. So
And also, which we haven't talked about, but don't you use all Cedar Park water for your beers?
we do.
Aside from, I think Chris was saying there was one that you add salt to, maybe, but
So y'all source it. Yeah, you just keep it as is. You don't add anything to
As far as our
neutralize
water?
pH or anything like that.
No,
yeah.
we got to get the pH down. I mean,
Yeah.
our pH here is we still have hard water here, so
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
Cedar Park.
it's
tap
not as hard
water.
as Austin, but it's still up around like 7.6, 7.8.
It's that high?
It's pretty high.
Wow.
I mean, Austin's over 8.
Yeah. Well, that's
it's all the
because
limestone there.
Austin is all about what is it? The heavy water. I don't
No,
know.
I
I
don't
saw
know.
it in.
Anyway, I was.
I don't even know.
I
They
saw
probably
it
sell
in
you on
Trader
eBay.
Joe's, and it was like $7 a bottle. So
Shit.
Anyway.
Well, I don't know. I drink
no,
smart
you're
water.
talking
so.
about alkaline.
Yeah, the
alkaline.
alkalinity, yeah.
Anyway, but I think, well, I don't know, because I don't work here at the brewery yet. I don't know. Anyway, no.
Ever.
But I think that's why you make such a great Kolsch, because, Cologne is the home of the Kolsch, and they have
Yeah.
really hard water.
Yeah.
And, Cedar Park has hard water, and I think that
There's
lends
definitely
a lot
similarities.
to...
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's why your darker styles are really good. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and Kolsch as a style was
Kolsch
one.
isn't even dark though, but it's
It's a light beer. I mean, it's
super light. I could see Cutter through it, which is a disadvantage, but it's
If you're leaving
go,
Kolsch,
it's
you don't want to
good.
see this guy.
Yeah.
for sure.
Kolsch is kind of a risky style to go out with because it's not really. It's trending in certain areas.
I
of the
don't think
country.
I had a Kolsch before I had your Kolsch.
See, and that's probably the majority. So, St. Elmo's with Carl has actually helped us just to educate the market on, hey, a Kolsch is a light drinking, almost as close, it's top fermenting, but
it's an amazing beer. Yeah.
Yeah, it's as close as a lager as you can,
without being a lager.
Yeah. We kind of developed it at first it wasn't ale that went with our strategy of we can only have one lager seasonally. So,
Right.
but it was our kind of bridge beer, right? It was the beer
see
that
that,
we
yeah,
thought,
yeah.
okay, somebody comes in with Dos Equis, and ironically, it's been our blonde has been overwhelmingly the bridge beer.
I'm just gonna put it out. I have not had the blonde.
The first time I met
Y'all are all
Kevin,
talking-
You will
cans
have
in a lot of
have
places.
it.
Like
You'll probably
Cutter-
appreciate it because you're not an IPA guy. So you,
Yeah,
probably
no,
true.
I think
Cutter
you'll
over
like
here
it.
like gets off to it. So
the
like,
first time I
it's
met
like-
Kevin, like the first time I met Kevin, is like I've had the Kolsch. It's all like sell me on this blonde, and it's all like he started talking about it, and then he recognized me.
I mean,
But if you
that
want
is
to
the
try,
first time I had the blonde.
if you want to try the blind, I mean, more than happy to buy some at HEB.
I absolutely will.
It's literally
I
across
So,
the
but you
tracks.
say that though. I bought it at HEB, and that's where I first heard about it, and that was after having the
think-
converter, and I didn't connect the two.
Really?
Like
You
for
didn't-
me,
you didn't
I didn't
acknowledge
know it
Whitestone?
was.
I think it's
I
really
didn't know they were
similar.
connected, and I liked it, but I didn't know it was the same thing.
Oh man!
I mean,
now
it is
let's
a
have
different
marketing
color.
session now.
It is-
because-
it
so
is
was
a different color.
Was it because you didn't see
But-
the Whitestone Brewery like right there?
I didn't. I didn't.
I'm
yeah.
firing my whole marketing team.
I don't want
That's
to.
me,
No,
so I'm
no,
firing
I could
myself.
see that if you had just like Whitestone in black on all the cans, and then you could know that this is a Whitestone because you have it. But I like it because you have a different colors, so you
Agreed.
can tell.
But
well,
that's something we've talked to a
different-
lot of breweries
yeah.
about, how they have specific
Branding.
ideas
Yeah.
about branding
Marketing.
on their cans.
Right, and like Live Oak,
Exactly.
The can looks the
You
exact
always know
same
it's a
for
Live
every
Oak,
single beer.
There's a
but
beauty
you
to
don't
that,
you
right?
don't know
Yeah.
what's
Yeah.
in the can really.
Yeah.
You just know it's a Live Oak.
Yeah, I mean, the beauty
Versus-
about Live Oak is Chip doesn't really have to do a rebranding or anything. His
Oh, he's
can
a
is
sweetheart.
identifiable. Like you'll
Yeah.
never
Chip's a
question.
sweetheart.
Chip is he has his opinions on things too, and I love hearing him.
He's gonna do smoked beers until everybody likes smoked beers.
Man,
According
that
to
guy's
Mike.
passionate. I love it.
According to Mike,
It's just great about the industry.
And according to Davis Tucker from North by Northwest,
oh really?
Another one of my
Yes.
favorites. Davis is great.
Dave,
he is great.
Yeah.
We did like a 3-hour episode. With him. It was
What's crazy is how much these brewers are willing to talk about everything.
Hey, but you say that though.
I know.
That's the passion.
And the
That's
thing
the
is-
passion that
Thanks.
talking to
We
you.
don't really have filters, so
Yeah, we don't want to cut anybody off.
Yeah.
we just want to soak up all your knowledge. We want to squeeze you out like a sponge, man. and
My wife does
soak
that all the time,
up.
so I'm used to being squeezed out.
And like Tony's about to say,
Oh,
Yeah,
that's how-
they've
wait,
heard.
hey,
Oh, yeah.
can you-
Edit that.
That's not going to get edited.
Yeah. That's
Okay.
gonna be our bumper.
there you go.
I'm
it.
used to being squeezed out.
All right, I'll just go with it.
No,
A
it's
couple
that
episodes.
point that Ross is covering is like our listeners are used to hearing us, but hearing the passionate people talk about
The people
their
that actually
process,
make the beer,
absolutely.
yeah.
And people like Kevin.
And that,
Kevin,
Fuck
who
you,
said
Kevin.
like two words over here.
Hey, they were good words.
You know what? No. Kevin, what's your non-Whitestone favorite beer?
Believe it or not, it is Firestone Walker DBA or Red Hook ESB that
Ooh,
you
Red
cannot,
Hook.
Really?
you cannot find here anymore.
So, as an ESB, is that on draft, or do you have to get it in a? Can you get it in a can?
Not you can't get it here at all.
Here
Yeah,
at
they're
all,
not in Texas
yeah.
anymore.
Really? Yeah.
But those are my two favorite ones.
So is Red Hook a style beer or a beer? Because I feel like I've had
Red
that
Hook is
before.
a brewery.
It's a brewery.
Okay.
It's CBA. So you got Craft Brew Alliance,
Yeah.
is Red Hook, Kona, and Widmer.
Yeah.
Okay,
what
gotcha.
is the brewery here in Cedar Park that I'm thinking of?
Whitestone.
Yes, only Whitestone.
Got it.
Red Horn.
The coffee shop. Oh, Red Horn. Okay.
Whitestone. That's no. It's Whitestone.
Yeah. No, I
There's
got
no
you.
other
I got
brewery
you.
here.
I got you. All
I'm on
we'll-
Kevin's
we'll
team
cut
over
that
here.
out. Yeah.
Kevin Alliance.
The Kevin Beer Alliance.
So when you say Red Horn as a coffee shop, do they do a partnership with a beer stout or a coffee stout or anything? Or
I don't know.
I think that would just be like natural for them if they did.
I'm sure they. I think they did have a
a
coffee
good
stout at
stout.
one point.
okay, I'm not familiar with Red Horn, so I was just curious if that was
I
something.
mean, it's a
that
coffee shop and brewery, right?
Natural,
it?
Natural,
It is, yeah, they
natural
have it.
for them if they were a bunch of bitches.
They also Believe it or not, we'll probably leave that in.
So we'll leave that in, but Clint specifically
Clint's
said
own
that
opinion.
to
That
make
is not the opinion of the podcast.
That's to get a reaction from.
But they did.
We got the reaction.
They're no fucking Whitestone. I'll tell you that much.
That is
Our listeners can't see it, but we got a reaction.
But they did participate in the Barts for Beers, which Whitestone was also a participant.
Yes.
That's
which
right.
I should have brought my passport.
Damn!
I could have gotten a stamp. Oh man.
We'll give you $1 off.
Speaking of,
hey, that's the $1 off.
Our next episode
in
is
this economy.
Our next episode, what? Red Horn?
Yeah, it's with. No, it's not. But I'd be funny
God,
if it
no!
was.
Hey everyone, thanks for joining us for the first part of our Whitestone visit episode. I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. Stay tuned in a couple days for part 2, Search for Cutter's Gold.
I think that's the one where we slowly get more and more drunk and it just goes downhill.
Not so much slowly. Yeah. So, but yes, stay tuned and you will hear it.
This is Tony.
Cutter's here.
Clint.
Ross.
I'm still Joel.
And this is the podcast.
This is the podcast. 3 Beers In is a proud member of the Hopped Up Network. Thanks for sticking around. You can subscribe to us on iTunes, Stitcher, Podbean, Google Play, TuneIn, and on the hoppedupnetwork.com. If you like what you heard, rate and review us on iTunes. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at 3 Beers In Podcast, and check out our website, 3beersinpodcast.com. 3 beersinpodcast.com. You can find information about us and the show along with the links to all of our episodes and our really cool merchandise. While you're on our site, you can tell us what you like, what you don't like. And if you don't like us, then why the hell are you still here? You should have turned us off long ago. But if you're just going to listen to us anyway, then you should probably subscribe too. And if you would like a transcript of our podcast, write down everything that we just said.
Amazing Nerds Unite!
If you are looking for more beer podcasts just like the one you're listening to right now, then head on over to hoppedupnetwork.com. We are a podcast network focused on our local craft beer communities. Here's a quick example of one of the many podcasts you will find.
Hi, I'm Katie.
And I'm Kathy.
And we are women drinking beer. We drink beer, review them, and tell you about them so you can approach a beer list with confidence.
As part of the Hopped Up Network, we cover the Twin Cities beer scene along with other favorites as well as interviews with women in the beer industry. We upload weekly to iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Google Play, or wherever you find your podcasts.
We can be found drinking beer daily on social media via Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just search Women Drinking Beer and look for the kiss mark on the bottle cap.
So if you enjoy beer or nerdy gals, or both, we encourage you to taste along with us and come have a beer with us.
Come have a beer with us.